Hey y'all, Ramdino here, coming at you from sunny North Carolina. This is part 2 of my section hike from the Knock to Fontana Dam. And when we last left in part 1, I was at Cheoah Bald, getting ready to hunker down for the night. So we're going to continue that, and in this portion, you get to see some of the weirdos that I ran into on the trail. To find out who they are and how the rest of my hike went, stick around. Okay, so full disclosure here, the weirdos that I ran into, a little explanation. To the folks that live out in the Matrix and never venture into the hiking world, these folks will be weirdos. You may refer to them as thru hikers, but the Matrix folks probably refer to them as weirdos, because what other type of person other than a weirdo would walk almost 2,200 miles carrying everything they got for the journey on their back? What kind of sense is that? Well, to see how the rest of my trip went and who I ran into on the trail, let's go ahead and get going. All right, so it's hiker midnight, 8:30, sunset. Had a good ride up here, a good trip up here, hike up here. 8.7 miles of Cheoah Bald, gorgeous sunset. Hopefully I'll get up in time to see a gorgeous sunrise in the morning. It was all uphill pretty much, maybe a few quick 100-foot flats or 100, maybe 50-yard downhill, but it was mainly all uphill, and lots of times, you know, I could reach out and almost touch the ground in front of me. So it's tough, but really didn't rest that much, so I'm definitely getting stronger. Stopped by the shelter, and there was probably 7 people in the shelter. So double-decker, so it'd probably hold about 12. And then there was probably about 5 tents around there, and really there's only one tent spot that's flat, and that's directly behind the shelter. So I just got some water, cameled up, and it was another mile and 1.4 miles up here to Cheoah Bald, and so it was well worth it to be up here, watch the sunset and everything. And you can hear the wind in the background, but it's really not blowing that bad here. You can see the walls of my tent really not jumping around a lot, so it really is not affecting me much at all. The trees up here at Cheoah Bald are catching and being a good windbreak. So glad I came up here, glad I made that decision. Tomorrow is going to be less than 20 miles. Most of it's downhill. I don't know if I'll go out or not. May wind up like I did at Deep Gap. We'll just have to see how I'm feeling. I've got enough provisions for another day plus if I need to. I always take an extra little bit of provisions with me. But I don't think that's going to be necessary. So we'll see how I'm feeling, but I'll throw in a couple pictures there, if I hadn't already, of the sunset and stuff, so you can see that. It's just, I would highly encourage you to make the trip up there. There's a couple of places between the Sassafras Shelter and Cheoah Bald where you could pitch a tent flat. Of course, there's plenty of hammocking spots, but and then you know, they're just short of the Bald by a quarter mile. But not a lot of tenting spots. But then you get up here on Cheoah Bald, and there's probably enough room for at least 3 tents right here directly on the Bald, and then there's a couple little tent sites away from the Bald, you know, just in the woods, 100 foot or so. So there's room for about 6 tents and stuff up here. So come on up. Gorgeous view up here. Well worth it. Even if it's windy, and the winds are supposed to be gusting to 35 miles an hour today. I think they were like 15 miles an hour with 35-mile-an-hour gusts. So, yeah, but the trees around here break it good, so no problem. All right, I will see you in the morning. Thanks for coming along with me. Parts of the trail are so varied in their terrain and even in their size. This is like walking through a maze. blowdowns and rhododendron stuff, the trail's only feet wide, as opposed to, yeah, I mean maybe a foot, 16 inches wide, as opposed to 4 feet wide. So going through these rhododendrons forests like this is can be tricky, negotiating the roots, and then every now and then I come up on a rock as well, or a whole bunch of rocks, and some of those are just like straight down and slick with mud and crap. So anyway, just kind of adds to it. I had a good night's sleep last night, about 10-15 minutes out of camp. Favorite camping spot on the AT yet. I like the Overmountain shelter. That was just neat, but this was the prettiest. Got to see a killer sunset last night. Did not get up in time for a sunrise because it was chilly. In fact, it must have been below freezing because there was frost on my tent. But got up, took my time, had me some chow and made me a coffee mocha. And yep, see what I'm talking about. And so already starting to heat up. You know, this morning I needed a puffy and some insulation, and now I'm getting ready to come out of my shirt, and definitely didn't start out with my puffy. Today I got about 20 miles to the dam, 21, 22. So I don't know if I'll make that or not. It's mainly ups and downs. Really, most of it's down. There's only one big up, but the downs are slower for me than the ups. One, they're harder on my knees, and two, you just have to be a whole lot more careful about your foot placement, particularly when you're going through a rock scramble. So, I mean, I'm on like I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but it's like a 40-degree slope, something like that, 45. I don't know, but it's straight up and down. So I am having to take my time. Plus, can't very well film and use my tracking poles except with one hand at one time. Anyhow, so we got going to the next campsite, which is supposed to have water down to about half a liter. There's none on, well, there is a place up on top on Cheoah Bald, but it's not actually on the Bald. It's way down in the valley, about 500 yards, and if you've got to have it, you can get to it. And there's a blue blaze, a blue stop there, takes you down there to it, in a pretty well beaten path. So you can find it, but coming back up the hill is, whew, may not make it worth it unless you just got to have it. So in my case, I camped up at Sassafras, which I recommend, and with 2 1-liter bottles, that was plenty. I would highly recommend, if you get to Sassafras, to definitely come on up instead of, you know, camel up there, but don't camp there. Well, there's only like one spot that's got a decent place for a tent. Of course, there's the shelter, but I don't like shelters that much. But come on up to Cheoah Bald. That was great. Just great place. The wind blew all night, but it didn't rattle me because it was coming from the west. So the trees broke the wind before they got to me. And it kind of went up and over. So except for a few times, I didn't even know the wind was blowing other than the sound. And what was really cool is it's like wind sound is like, when it's not hitting you, is like white noise. If you know what that is. So it's almost sounded like being at the beach, at the surf. You know, because surf's not constant and neither is the wind. So that's pretty cool. In any case, I'm heading on. Catch up with you later. Alright, so that was pretty awesome. Caught up with a subscriber and thru hiker, Punky. And she was the one that had me pegging the norovirus at Albert Mountain further south. And she's doing this section now, slack packing Sobo. And but she's over the norovirus, obviously. and she's doing great, enjoying the trail. So that was pretty neat to chat with her just for a few minutes on the trail. You know, I always forget to take a picture of somebody, and I'm hesitant to interview them because I don't want to, you know, disturb their hike. You know, if we were stopped somewhere, it might be different. I got a shelter or water or something. But anyway, she was heading uphill, so didn't want to break her stride too much. But she seemed to be doing great and enjoying it. So kudos to you, Punky. Appreciate you stopping for just a few minutes and chatting with me, and hope your hike works out great all the way up there, and take care. All right, so that was awesome. Again, ran into, as soon as not 5 minutes after I left Punked, I ran into Two Knees and her family. And I'm sorry, guys, if you're watching this, I couldn't remember the other two. I think one of them was Blaze, but anyway, they are hiking Sobo from Cheoah to the Knock, and then going back, and they're getting ready to hit the Smokies. So that was awesome. We chatted for about 30 minutes, and it's just really cool to stop on the trail, run into people that you know from in the virtual world, to see them in the real world, and just people you've corresponded with in social media. So that was really cool, guys, and appreciate you interrupting your hike and stopping, talking to me, and enjoyed that immensely. So good luck to you, and enjoy the rest of your hike, and look forward to keeping up with you and following you all the way up to Katahdin. All right, I am coming into Cheoah Gap. I don't think it's too much further here. I don't know if I'll eat lunch there or not, but probably just keep on getting it. All right, that's it for now. Well, I'm coming up out of Cheoah Gap. Of course, when you come out of a gap, you're uphill. Also, I had a couple folks, and right quick, I wanted to show you this majestic poplar forest. It's really, really cool. Anyhow, had a couple guys down there tell me that I'm getting ready to hit Jacob's Ladder. I didn't know this was the section that had Jacob's Ladder in. I thought for some reason that was up at Damascus. But anyway, we'll see when I get to it. Of course, I'm coming up out of the gap, so it's always an up when you come out of a gap. But we'll see when I get there. Mostly poplars. There's a sourwood tree, which is unusual. It may be dead. I don't see any leaves coming out on it. It may not be time yet, though, but usually sourwoods are, maybe that's a gum. Sometimes without the leaves, I get them mixed up. Usually sourwoods are really crooked, too. But these hardwood forests are pretty neat. These huge poplars in here. And wildflowers that come out on the trail. Now they're looking neato. Add a little color to the place besides green and bark gray. All right. Well, the grade has definitely changed. So let me get on with the business. All right, if I'm not on Jacob's Ladder now, I'm in big trouble when I get to it, because this ain't nothing but straight up. Feels like it. Mercifully, there's been a switchback or two, but I mean, see where I got to go, to quote Hawk. There's where I've been. And there's where I'm going. Should have stopped and had lunch. Alright. I'm going to water up and see if I can make it another 100 yards. I don't think I got to Jacob's Ladder part. That looks worse than what I just come up. Holy moly. I mean, the camera don't do it justice. I get that, but oh, it's crazy. And there's no place for switchbacks, although it could have maybe followed along the
trail that way and went out more gradually, but hey, what fun would that be, huh? All right, it's about a little before 6. Just passed through Cable Gap where the shelter is. There was several tents there. Didn't see any tent spots that were even close to being level there. There was some guy in the shelter with his speaker on or his whatever, playing tunes, and I'm not much for tunes on the trail. Any kind of music, I mean, you know, use your earbuds. But anyway, didn't really care about staying there. So the dam's about 7 miles from the shelter. Fontana Dam Road is like 5.1 from my pause now. So I probably wind up, I got about 2.5 hours of daylight, 2 hours 15 minutes. So I won't, because I've got this huge up before then, I'll probably night hiking the last couple miles. But that's all right. Either that or I can stealth camp somewhere. But once I get above this up, which is 800 feet in about a mile, I'm a third of the way up now. Once I get up this, then it's pretty much all downhill. So that's kind of the plan. We'll see if that comes to fruition or not. I'll let you know later on. Out for now. Well, there's my first glimpse of Fontana Lake. I got a little quick down, and another quick up, and then it's all down. I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. I've pushed myself too far. I think I've pushed myself to about to the point of exhaustion. I don't know if it's clinical exhaustion or not, but I mean, when you start seeing spots in front of your eyes, maybe that's a good sign you push yourself too much. But I'm in it now. There's no bailout point between here and Fontana Road. So we continue the mission. Good, bad, or indifferent. At this point, I'm only about 4 miles away from the road. And then add another 2.2 from there to the truck. I got a little dirt road I crossed, but I guarantee there ain't nobody there I can hitch. And don't know that I would with only, I don't know, 4.2 don't sound a lot. 6.2 sounds a lot. All right, hiking on. Well, that's the dam. If you can see it through the trees. That's my final destination. We'll see if we make it. All right, so I did make it the whole way out. Got down from where we last left off on the trail, did not film anymore. Made it to the Blacktop Road right there at the marina where the trail crosses over the road that comes down to the dam and then also splits off and goes to Fontana Village proper. Got down there and I was just whooped and tried to hitch from there to down to the truck, which wasn't but 2.2 miles, but it was getting too dark, so I couldn't, you know, the trail had gone two-dimensional by that time, and could not get anybody to stop for me at all. It wasn't anything but motorcycles and sports cars that were up there enjoying the curves and stuff, so nobody would stop. So after waiting for about 30 minutes, I just threw my pack in the woods, hit it, and took off with my headlight and a water bottle and nothing else. And I think I did have my trekking poles. And so hiked the 2.2 and all the way back down to the shelter, or correction, well, I did go past the shelter there, the Fontana Hilton, and it was maxed out, and I think it sleeps about, I don't know, 15 or 16. And then there must have been a dozen tents everywhere around there. So a lot of folks there getting ready to go into the Smokies the next day, I presume. And but anyway, made it on down to the truck, and then came back, retrieved my gear, and came on home. So that was pretty much it for the trip. I was so tired. When I called my wife, said I was coming in. I said, look, I may not make it in. I'll stop and get a motel or something. At that point, I was about 3 hours from the house, but I didn't make it all the way back in. So it was a great trip. Met several subscribers, several thru hikers. One of them that I met, I didn't mention previously, and that was her trail name was Cheoah. So Cheoah, if you're listening to this, I know you challenged me to make it all the way, and I made it all the way, and lived to tell about it. So anyway, appreciate the challenge, and I hope your hike's going well. And for Rambling Rose and Blaze and Two Knees and Punky, I hope y'all's hike's going great, and give me a comment or let me know how things are going out there, and you can either leave it here on this YouTube video or send it over to my Facebook page at Ramdino Roaming the Trail. So that's it. That's all I got for you guys. Hope you enjoyed that. Tune in later on in a day or so, and I'll have an update for the thru hikers this week. As always, appreciate you, and we'll see you out there.